Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we recently did a topic discussion video on the biggest problem in Hearthstone today, and there is kind of one other underlying core issue I wanted to talk about today, and I don't think it's as bad as like the card generation, the card dropping is cheap, but there is fundamentally something kind of going wrong in Hearthstone to an extent, and that is that board states generally feel like they don't matter. Stats on board rarely feel like they matter, and outside of like getting infinite card drawn generation and all this stuff, I think one thing that's like a big symptomatic of a problem of this is the rush mechanic. The rush mechanic being kind of overly used in, kind of abused in terms of like card printing and distribution in Hearthstone. And well, let's take a look throughout the history of Hearthstone since Rush was implemented to today, and we can kind of see how it has evolved and where I'm at, and then I'll make my point as to why I think Rush is a little bit much in the current game. If you aren't aware of what the Rush mechanic is somehow in Hearthstone, basically it means when you play your minion, a Rush minion, it can attack immediately. One put on the board, it just can't go face. It's not like Charge, which can go absolutely anywhere. This mechanic was introduced in the Witchwood expansion. Normally when a keyword or whatever is introduced into the game, it typically stays in the expansion, but Rush was such a big hit that it's basically been implemented ever since, has even found its way into basically the classic set through Demon Hunter, through its inception. So Rush is here to stay, but how did Rush begin? Well, if you take a look, there were quite a few Rush cards. We had like Druid of the Scythe, we had Hunting Mastiff, Vilebird Skitterer, like all these kind of garbage rush minions. You had Houndmaster Shaw, which at the time was an incredible minion, and keep Houndmaster Shaw in the back of your mind as it gives all your other minions rush. This was a Hunter Legendary 4-mana 3/6, but a lot of the cards didn't see much play. We have like Ghostly Charger, Curse, Castaway, Ratcatcher, Ben, Wasp, Rabid Worgen, but probably the best cards, the best rush cards from Witchwood was like Militia Commander, Darius Crowley were standouts. Vicious Scalehide was a hugely meta card for quite some time, especially Quest Rogue or like Hunter with like Dire Frenzy. Scaleworm saw a little bit of play, but overall you had a lot of bad cards like Swift Messenger, Muck Hunter, Gilnean Royal Guard. So overall you could see, you know, the rush cards, if you look back here, they were often quite expensive or awkwardly statted, situational. They weren't like, you know, tempo-based plays. They weren't all that great. So for the most part, they saw like limited play and were decent, but the mechanic was a hit, so it stayed around. And as they stayed around, every expansion since then, we have seen rush minions. So let's go from like standouts from each expansion up until recently. Boomsday had Mulch Muncher. That card eventually got buffed to 9 mana, but became very relevant. Thunderhead created Sparks with Rush. Dr. Boom Mad Genius gave all mechs Rush, and that was incredibly powerful, but most iconically from Boomsday was Ziliax, the 5-mana 3/2 lifesteal Rush mech. That's one of the most powerful cards ever made. Rostican's Rumble saw Springpaw release, which was very powerful. Shirvala, more so for its OTK abilities with the 25 mana, but even as a standalone card, quite strong. Captain Hooktusk could give all your pirates Rush. It was a decent card that saw a little bit of play, and outside of that, maybe like Undasta and Amani Warbear were somewhat meta cards. Now we're into the standard sets. Then we're into all the standard sets that have had cards with Rush in it. And let's just take a quick look throughout like the last year, the Year of the Dragon. Year of the Dragon's where Rush started to get quite a bit more powerful. You had cards like Unleash the Beast, Underbelly Fence, Walking Fountain, Inchclan Hogsteed, and Batterhead as key examples, as well as a Magic Carpet, which gave all of your 1-drops Rush and was a very meta card for quite some time. Old Doom saw Oasis Surger, like effectively a 5-mana 10/10 with Rush with an active quest. Desert Spear, very powerful card. Swarm of Locusts. Ogu Flesh Shaper was 7 mana, then bumped to 9 and still sees play. Restless Mummy was ridiculously powerful in Warrior until Town Crier rotated. And Siamat still sees play today as Rush is one of its options. Descent of Dragons, where we saw Diving Griffin, Hunter minion, very powerful Rush minion. The Shaman Galakron summoned elementals with Rush. Scion of Ruin, very powerful Rush minion. Devoted Maniac and Faceless Corruptor, that one got nerfed, being the standouts as well. In this current year, we've seen Furious Felfin, Coilfang Warlord, Marsh Hydra, Zigzor. You can see that the power level of these Rush minions progressively get better and better. Nightshot Matron, a 4-mana 5/5 with Rush that often draws you 3 cards. Pretty insane. Kargath, Bladefist, Bloodboil Brute, Imprisoned Vile Fiend, Rusteed Raider. Incredible Rush minions, and basically premium statted as we keep evolving. Moving on to Scholomance, we have Sociologist Malicia, basically can give you 6 3/3s with Rush. Speaker Gydra, Guardian Animals was broken at 7, giving your beast Rush. Dr. Krastinov, Animated Broomstick, and Fishy Flyer. And this is where things really get crazy. Animated Broomstick and Fishy Flyer in particular, keep them in the back of your mind as well. Lastly, in the Darkmoon Fair, we have Bladed Lady, we have Umbral Owl, Trampling Rhino, Crab Rider, and Darkmoon Rabbit is like the standout rush minion. So as you can see, as we have evolved, as we've gone over like the past like 3 years of Hearthstone, every expansion, it feels like the rush minions get more premium statted, more tribal, just more and more tempo based, more and more upside on top of the rush. And the big point I want to make and why I feel Rush has gone too far is when you look at cards like Animated Broomstick and Fishy Flyer. Animated Broomstick in particular, giving every minion you have on board Rush. So this effectively can make board states not matter. Like, I've been playing a lot of Libram Paladin lately, and I can willingly fall behind on board because I know I'm going to cheat out like an 8/8 with Divine Shield and Taunt. I'm going to play like a Solid Pride or whatever it's called and get a 3/1, and that trades really well with Rush, drawing another Broom, and then giving more stuff Rush, and it's effectively a free board clear and with no real downside, especially Broomstick, right? It's a 1 mana 1/1. It's just 1 mana. Compare it, like I mentioned, keep in the back of your mind, Howlmaster Shaw, which was an incredible card, was a legendary minion, so its effect was legendary status, and it was 4 mana, so not as flexible. And now we're in a state where Broomstick, that card makes it feel like every single board doesn't matter because your opponent can just play a couple things, Broomstick can clear your board. And it's non-interactive. It's funny. Charge was taken out of the game because of, or for the most part taken out of the game because it feels non-interactive, not fun. But to me, Rush almost has that same sensation. Like I'm winning the board, I'm doing everything to win the board, and then my opponent just cheats out some minions and then plays Broomstick and clears everything and then has the board. And it's like, what the hell just happened? And I feel like the reason I mentioned Fishy Flyers because I've been playing a lot of Arena, or at least a decent amount of Arena on stream lately, because it's one of my favorite formats and I want to get back into it. But every time I play Arena now, it's like, who has more Rush minions wins? That's what it feels like. It's not even about the created by cards. It's like, okay, I played some stuff, then they got the tempo clear because they played like Fishy Flyer, which is insane and all over the place in Arena. And basically whoever has the last Rush minion wins the game, it feels like. You can never win board. You can never contest the board because Rush just negates everything. And in original Hearthstone, you didn't have Rush. Rush didn't exist, and you would have to earn your board, and the only way you would lose it was through like removal, like board clears or other means. And I feel like Rush is kind of has that same problem we talked about with card generation and draw, that maybe it's just too cheap. Maybe it's too tempo oriented. There should be more of a sacrifice for your Rush minions. Because if you look at a card like Broomstick or, you know, Restless Mummy, for example, it's like a 6 attack minion with Reborn. If you put it all together, there's not really a loss for playing these minions at all. And you get the advantage of having Rush. Key example, Nightshade Matron, 4 mana 5/5 that draws you 3 cards a lot of the time. That's just ridiculous and obviously very game winning a lot of the times. I thought this was an interesting topic. I just feel like board states just don't matter that much these days. And I feel like outside of like cheap removal in terms of like battle cries and created by, that Rush is really a big issue in that. And maybe they need to dial it back a little bit with Rush, make it more expensive again. Because again, I don't know. Do you find it frustrating how every single board you play basically just dies to a Broomstick or a cheap Rush minion? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you think this is an issue or if it's just the way, again, the game is evolving. Things change. Doesn't have to stay the same. But I just thought it was interesting and was a bit frustrating, especially when I was playing Arena. So there you have it. That's our topic today. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.